We were the first ones to start talking about discrimination in employment. Now we have an Equal Opportunity Act. And we were the first to talk about HIV and the law. Right now there's a huge debate about sexual orientation, for example, and it's really lawyers and jurists and people who think about law. We are the ones, and I'm involved in that as well, trying to help shape society's viewpoints on those things.
Persons who have the opportunity to study law, it is their duty to protect those who need protecting, to protect the vulnerable in society, and that by that way we are allowed to see society not for what it is, but for what it ought to be.
A sect like the mentally ill, they are vulnerable just by virtue of their predominant characteristic, and so law provides that protection and that statement. To what extent do we conform with international norms? Not so much a focus on international law, but to what extent do we present a framework that would allow our mentally ill to be treated in accordance with international standards?
Well, my research over the years has focused largely in the area of constitutional law and international human rights. I've had the privilege of assisting over 20 countries in the drafting of constitutions or in amendments to the constitutions. And that has involved a variety of areas, such as the interaction of law and religion, what religion plays in the interpreting and the placement in the Constitution, to various human rights, from freedom of speech to equality and freedom from discrimination based on gender, based on race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation.
And the human rights program at the faculty really deals with human rights from a regional and an international perspective. Regional being constitutions of the region of Trinidad and Tobago, and it allows the students to both challenge what the rights are and potentially look at ways of improving the Constitution. Law empowers our students to protect the vulnerable. Discipline in the home is actually being misused to form abuse. I think the area of research in corporal punishment and children's rights is very relevant and topical in Trinidadian society.
My research focuses on the current practices and policies of the government in terms of the types of contracts that they engage private oil companies in. So there might be joint operating agreements or production sharing contracts, and whether it is onshore or offshore.
Now we have now introduced in this faculty oil and gas law. We are the first faculty to do so, so we expect a new generation of attorneys out there to do that.
And I think this is a specialized area that traditionally at law schools, oil and gas law is not on the academic curriculum. But I think it's so important to the economy here in Trinidad and Tobago that it was introduced here at this Faculty of Law. For the first time, look at the fundamentals of oil and gas law. Not only the basic principles dealing with leases and license, but also the more complicated and controversial issues.
I'm trying to investigate how directors of a company involved in what we call fraudulent trading, how they can be treated using law as an instrument to get maximum value for the creditors. Whenever people are running companies that can affect their lives, they will run such companies with utmost diligence without, doing things that will affect the man on the street.
It's important that Caribbean societies pay attention to their patterns of consumption, production, and waste management. So environmental law is critical to the survival of our societies.
The environment is critical not only to the people who live here just on their daily lives, but it's critical to the whole tourism industry, as well as to future generations who wish to live and enjoy the beauty of the Caribbean. I've worked on a variety of issues that are Caribbean-wide, particularly in the environmental field. And these have impacted protected areas such as coral reefs, landscapes, seascapes, sustainable fisheries. And all of those issues are interrelated because the Caribbean is so connected.
The importance of legal research and academic writings, because academics aren't bogged down by the monotony of practice and real-life situations, we get to think about the law holistically and to stay current with international trends.
Very often practitioners look to academics and jurists in order to develop law and to elevate the sort of the thinking and the knowledge in a particular subject.
Law is social re-engineering, and that is the power of what we teach.
So we can be cutting edge and we create new disciplines for practitioners. Yeah?